Episode 10 starts with Sid telling us that the school was half destroyed, so they started summer break early. Most of the students have gone back home, and it's quiet in the dorms. He doesn't have anything to do at home, so he decided to stay here. But it turns out there's nothing to do here either. Then he gets a letter from Alpha, so the time has come to settle old accounts. It is the final resting place of ancient memories, the sacred land Lindworm. After that, we see the daily affairs of Shadow Garden. Gamma is reading reports, Delta is sleeping thinking about Shadow, some girl is sleepwalking dragging a wrench, hits the wall, and goes to sleep. Epsilon is admiring herself in the mirror, saying, "Another day, another beautiful her. Perfection." When she met Lord Shadow, she gained the power to fight against two fates. We get a flashback of Shadow showing Epsilon his magic, and she asks, "What is that?" He tells her this is the power to change her fate. When you can change your form at will, you can change a fate doomed to defeat into victory. He tells her to change her fate, and take a hold of the truth that lurks in the shadows of this world. She repeats, "Take hold of the truth?" She says, "My lord." She swears to him. She will claim victory over nature. After that, Shadow is walking down the underground area he was in while saving Alexia. Xenon is saying, "Crimson eyes that sparkle brighter than the moon in the heavens. Supple locks whose luster puts the finest silk to shame." The words that flow from his mouth cause even demons to cower in fear. A man clad in virile yet beautiful purest black. He sees you, with your muscles finely sculpted into the golden ratio, and his visage beautified into sublime perfection. He must be the stray dog that's been snapping at the colt as of late. Then shouts, "Who would call Lord Shadow a stray dog?" Shadow stops, and tells him his name is Shadow. He who lurks in the shadows hunts the shadows, and will lead that charming young elf to her salvation. As it pans out, we see that Alexia has been replaced by Beta. She calls for Lord Shadow. He tells her he's sorry to have kept her waiting, my charming young elf. Now that he's here, he will... Beta slams her desk and says no good. It's just a little too overly dramatic. She throws her papers up. Is that any excuse to use such a shoddy character as a female lead? Maybe she should go outside and get some fresh air. Then wonders, where did she leave her clothes? After that, Beta and Epsilon are facing each other. Epsilon tells her good morning. Beta greets her back. Epsilon smirks. It might be her imagination, but she feels as if Lord Shadow has been looking her way more frequently as of late. She has felt the intense passion of his gaze right here. Beta tells her that can't be right. It must be a mistake. Epsilon tells her, "Oh, it's no mistake." Surely she's noticed it herself. The two of them are much more aware of those sorts of glances after all. Beta tells her that's true. But is it right for her to charm their imminent master? Epsilon asks if she's felt the Lord's impassioned gaze herself. After all, her boobs are far larger than her meager bust. Nu breaks up their conversation by asking what are they talking about. They tell her good morning, and ask, is something the matter? She tells them that they've received a directive from Lady Alpha. We then hear Alexia noticing that this is a very successful business. Everyone in the capital is talking about this place. They have everything, and it's all the best quality. Iris tells her she only came here to help her shop for a trip. But this is a fascinating place. Alexia says right, and you should really be aware of the trends in the royal capital. Iris tells her she can follow the trends if she wants, but don't forget why they're here. She's heading off to the sacred land as a special guest for the goddess's trial. Alexia tells her she knows, but it's normal for the special guest to chat with the archbishop, right? She can use the opportunity to look into the dark rumors about corruption and missing orphans. And since she's just a helpless little princess, no one will suspect a thing. Iris tells her it's true that people are less guarded around her than around her. Maybe she shouldn't have told her about the investigation after all. Gamma enters the room and greets them. She's terribly sorry she didn't pay her respects sooner. She's the president of this humble establishment. Her name is Luna. Alexia eats something, saying it's delicious. The citrus one is good too. She'll take some. Send them to her dorm. As they continue their conversation, Iris reminds Alexia that they came here to prepare for a trip. Gamma asks, she'll be traveling? Alexia tells her to the Sacred Land. Gamma tells her that it'll allow her to select some items that she may need. Alexia thanks her and brings up that she won't be needing it for a trip, but can she ask her to show her some articles of clothing that she would recommend. Iris tells her if she's looking for party dresses, they've already ordered her several. Alexia tells her it's nothing like that. She wants something more, everyday wear, more casual. Iris asks a gift for a friend. Alexia tells her it's not exactly a gift, but it's not exactly for her either. Gamma smiles. Then she suggests something along these lines. They're taken aback. Those are... Gamma tells him women's undergarments. Iris says thongs. She feels there's not enough fabric coverage, and she can see through some of it. Gamma tells her she understands, but this is very pleasing to the menfolk. Iris repeats menfolk, then turns to Alexia. Don't tell her she... Alexia tells her that she's confident she has a finely shaped butt. Iris tells her that's not the problem, and tells her to unhand those panties. Gamma tells her she can try them on if she'd like. Alexia tries them on. Iris disapproves. It's clearly revealing her. However, Alexia tells her she refuses to be swayed any longer by words that she doesn't need to hear. She wants to value the words of those who acknowledge her. If she refuses to allow her a thong, then she will yield. She very much wants to wear a thong to win him. She means she has a very strong personal desire to wear one. But answer her this. Do thongs really deserve her absolute and unwavering rejection? Iris tells her she wouldn't necessarily say absolute. Alexia tells her then she'll take them. Oh, and that G-string. Can she try that on? After that, we see the student president running around looking for someone. She enters the nurse's room and finds Sid bandaged up. Thank heavens. She's so glad he's alive. His unwavering effort and love must have produced a miracle. She'll accept all of her feelings for her. He gave her his life, so now she'll give him her heart. In that moment, she felt the hand of destiny. Her dear Sid, he's the one. Sid just says, yeah. Rose tells him they won't be arriving in the Sacred Lands for 2 days, so let's relax and get plenty of rest in the meantime. Sid thinks the Sacred Land is so close that he could have just waited until nightfall, sprinted at full speed, and he'd be right there. His idea to take an economy class seat in the train like a proper background character was a mistake. She happened to find him at the station. She said if he was going to the Sacred Land, they should go together, and wouldn't take no for an answer. Rose says she assumes he's going for the goddess's trial as well, right? Sid tells her yeah, probably. He figures that's probably what Alpha summoned him for. She tells him she's seen the real him. She knows how brave he is. She's quite certain that their path together will be a thorny one. No one will give them their blessing or approve of their union. Sid says the most popular religion in this world is the divine teachings. It's a faith that worships the sacred precepts of the goddess Beatrix. It is said that after the goddess granted the legendary heroes their powers, they built up wealth from humble beginnings and married the princesses of great kingdoms. So she believes at the end of every thorny path, there awaits a blessed and happy future. If she can make it through the goddess's trial, she will be able to speak to her father of a brave young man. As night arrives, Rose enters the cabin Sid is in to sleep with him, but he's sleeping on the roof instead. And they finally arrive in the Sacred Land of Lindworm. As they're looking at a necklace, Sid asks, why is it only a left arm? Rose tells him legend has it that this is where the hero Oliver cut off the left arm of the demon Diablos long ago. Sid tells her, well, that makes sense. Rose then notices that her favorite author, Natsume, is having a book signing. She's her biggest fan. She's a popular novelist, known for her tremendous imagination and her fresh and original world building. Romance, mystery, action, fairy tales. She even writes literature in the classic style. She's a master of every genre, and her stories are so diverse, it's like they're written by different people. It's amazing. Sid thinks it sounds like she covers everything. Almost like she's been reborn. Never mind. He didn't say anything. He then looks at the Midsummer Natsume collection. I Am a Dragon, Romeo et Juliette, Asherella, Little Crimson Riding Hood, Star It's a Trap Wars, One Purse, Dragon Ball, Kage no Jitsudo I can't read it. The plagiarism is so blatant, it's almost refreshing. This can't be a coincidence. There must be someone else who's been reincarnated from. Guess he's going to need to make sure. Then wonders, what did she think she was doing? Sid hands her a book to sign, and asks, how's business? She tells him she can't complain. She's getting her name out there. People know who she is, and it's all thanks to his wisdom. Sid thinks first Gamma and now her. Beta told him she likes literature, so he told her a few stories from his past life. The idea was that she could use them as inspiration to come up with a cool story. That's what he was thinking when he told her. He didn't expect her to steal them wholesale. She hands him back the book. It contains the details of the mission. He meets back with Rose, and she shows him the personalized message Beta wrote in her book. Did he get his personalized as well? Rose looks at it and asks, are those ancient letters? Sid tells her, it looks like it. Can she read it? She tells him ancient writing isn't a required course, so she only knows the very basic, and it looks like they're written in extreme shorthand. So she's not sure if the meaning would come across even if she could read it. But why did she write an ancient alphabet? Sid tells her, well, because it's cool, obviously. After that, Alpha is telling someone they want to know the truth. Great hero Olivier. What did he really do at the place they call the Sanctuary? The more they unravel the threads of history's darkness, the more fact mingles with fiction. Archbishop Drake, what was he hiding? If he had been able to speak, she would have loved to hear his answers. Who killed him? Tomorrow they'll wait for the moment that the door is opened. Sid is on the roof laughing. The bells ring out to announce the advert of chaos, and he looks down on the proceedings from his high vantage point, where he sees someone running on the roof. He won't fault the guy for making that choice, but it won't change the ultimate outcome. The guy stops in an alleyway and begins to draw his sword to attack. However, Sid blocks it with his spoon and points up. The guy looks up and is then sliced into 3 pieces. Sid says she hurled magically imbued sword strikes at his victim. He should expect nothing less of Epsilon the Precise. He's got Alpha's letter. He means the mission. How's it going? She tells him the target has been eliminated by the cult's executioner. They managed to take out his henchman, but the executioner himself has gone into hiding. They are moving on to Plan B. Sid tells her very well, but she knows what that means, right? She tells him they are prepared for the consequences. Sid tells her he'll proceed with his own plans. Don't fail him. And says Epsilon is a very proud woman. He can tell by the amount of slime she's piled onto herself. Then the episode ends. Some personal thoughts. Honestly, I don't even really know what to make of this episode. The first half caught me off guard. The animators must have been feeling horny this week or something. I don't have too much to say because this episode was kind of just everywhere. I'd say a decent episode. I'm looking forward to next week though, but that's about it. So yeah.